Fashion is a lot deeper than you may think, and while it has a reputation for being shallow and consumeristic, its innovations may have helped shape who you are today. So I just got into Paris yesterday, and on my flight here, I was reading The Philosophy of the Home by Emmanuel Kant, which, by the way, if you're a creative or doing something cool in Paris, definitely let me know. But in the book, there's a chapter on wardrobe, and Kant talks about pioneering French fashion designer Coco Chanel and her silhouette neuve in the 1920s. But he makes the distinction when talking about her silhouette neuve that it was much deeper than just another mode for more consumption. It created an entirely new way to be a woman. And this got me wondering, I've always enjoyed fashion from a casual perspective. Like, I'm not really paying attention to what's happening on the runways. But fashion has a stigma attached to it for being shallow and vain and consumeristic. And maybe there's some truth to that. But I think reading this passage made me realize that there's something deeply philosophical about wardrobe that a lot of people miss, including me. So let's explore it together. Okay, so Coco Chanel's silhouette neuve. To understand it, we need to rewind a little bit. From the 1890s to 1914, the standard for beauty in France was the Belle Epoque woman. She was constructed by the S-bend corset, which forced her torso forward and the hips back. She wore floor-length skirts and high-collared blouses, and these elaborate hats. Getting dressed for her required the help of other people, and her clothing could weigh up to 20 extra pounds. Mind you, not everyone dressed like this. The super elaborate version of this wardrobe was reserved for the aristocracy and the haute bourgeoisie, whose social function was display. They would be receiving visitors, attending the opera, appearing at the race course, and be photographed on the boulevards. But the petite bourgeoisie and even working class women would wear simpler versions of this silhouette, meaning corsets made with cheaper fabrics and sometimes functional depending on the profession. Then in 1916, Coco Chanel began using jersey, a fabric previously confined to men's underwear to make women's sportswear. And unlike the tight and structured corsets of the Belle Epoque woman, jersey moved with the body. Over the coming years, she presented many more pieces aimed at reimagining the entire institution of feminine wardrobe. And what emerged was a woman who could now move through the modern world on her own terms. She could drive a car, enter a cafe alone, work an office job, travel by train without a chaperone. What Chanel did was a lot more than just a style innovation, but it was seen as the use of fashion to invent a new form of life. It was a new way to be a woman that didn't exist before the clothes that made it possible. And while fashion has its own issues, I don't think it gets the recognition it deserves for its innovation, in the same way that technology does, for example. Because the conventional view is that identities pre-exist and fashion is just a way of expressing them. That the modern woman existed in 1920, but Chanel just gave her something to wear. But the deeper you look, it may actually be the reverse. That the clothes come first and the identity crystallizes around them. Because it's impossible to be a garçon, direct translation meaning boyish girl or tomboy, which was a term used to describe this cultural figure if you were wearing dresses of the Belle Epoque. Being in Paris, I have a ton more thoughts on fashion, and in a future video, I want to explore how fashion speaks for us, whether we know it or not. So if you want that, please like and follow, and let me know your thoughts in the comments.